Welcome to Cruise Niger TV, your number one center for Niger entertainment news and more on YouTube. Before we go ahead, please click on the subscribe button and turn on post notification bell so you can get notified when we put up a new video. Thank you. So recently, Banky and Adesua took us on a ride through their fertility path in an interview granted at the Waterbrook studio. The couple got married about 3 years ago and went through challenges trying to conceive. They even went through fertility treatments but unfortunately lost their twins through miscarriage. But God in his infinite mercies finally blessed them when they weren't even expecting, with a son named Haziah. I'm particularly happy for this couple because I am passively aware of what they, especially Adesua, went through in the hands of keyboard warriors on social media. One time, a lady said to her, "Your mates already have babies and you are here posting pictures. No go born." I was totally disgusted. Why? Because this comment was from a lady, a woman who should know better than to troll a fellow woman concerning babies, concerning not getting pregnant. Like, what do people really think? That you just go online and start talking crap about someone simply because you have 200 naira data on your phone, not minding what this thing you said will do to this person? It's really unfair. But wait, who says every couple must conceive immediately after marriage? Like, what if they are not ready? What if they don't want kids? What if they are trying but it's not just working? This should totally be their business because they wear the shoes, not you. Really? The topic of infertility is a very sensitive one. You cannot totally understand it. If you haven't passed through it or know someone who has, you will never ever be able to comprehend exactly what these people go through. And it is not something you wish your worst enemy, as in that person you see you and say, this person, I don't like any single thing concerning this very human. You can never wish infertility on such a person. So please, let's be mindful of what we say. Let us be mindful of what we say, especially when it concerns couples that are yet to conceive, because really, see, it is not your business. You don't know how much was paid on her right price and you're going out there to rant. You don't even know this person. On a normal day, say, you cannot even stand in their face. Simply because you have 2 naira, you now go on social media to type behind a fake page because you know you can talk. Like, we men, we are our number one enemies. But I'm so happy God has blessed them. Blessed them beyond comprehension. Blessed them beyond human comprehension. She has a son now, a baby, a whole human, a son she carried in her womb. How does that make you feel now? Are you happy? Will you contribute to the upbringing of this child? Will you send money for school fees? Will you say take money for his food? You know, those of you that have babies, you know how much people pay for diapers, buy diapers now. You know how much you buy baby cereals and the rest.
We got pregnant with twins.
So please.
And we had gone for the scans. We had seen the heartbeats. At this point, actually, very, very few people know when this happened. Every report that you have heard is a lie because nobody knew when it happened. And we saw the heartbeats. Everything was okay. And then during a routine checkup, we went back to the hospital to have a scan. And I just saw the doctor's face. You know when a doctor, I don't know how to explain it. When something is wrong, sometimes you can tell. And she was scanning, and I was like, what's wrong? She's like, oh, nothing, I'm just, And then I looked at the nurse's face, and she looked a bit funny too. And I was like, what's wrong? She was like, Adesua, I'm looking for the heartbeat. And I said, for 2 of them? And she said, yes. And I'm actually not going to lie, I started laughing because it didn't make any sense to me. I was just like, what do you mean you can't find the heartbeats of both? And she said, yeah. So
And so
I went home. Banky wasn't home at the time, so I went home, and I remember being in our living room. When I was at the hospital, I actually laughed. I was like, God knows, God knows. Then when I got home, I literally collapsed on the floor and I wailed. Wailing is not the same thing as crying. Wailing is a deep groaning in your chest. It's like a knot that you can't get rid of. And I'm sharing this because so many women go through this, but nobody talks about it because it's almost like a thing of shame for whatever reason. And I don't know why. Because you don't control your body, you don't create yourself. It's funny how we can accept that every other organ might need help. You can get a heart transplant, you can get help with your kidneys, but when it comes to the reproductive organs, it's like a dirty topic nobody wants to talk about. And I think it's really important that we talk about it. So we decided that over the weekend we were going to pray, because God is a God that cannot do. There's nothing he cannot do. Impossible is nothing with him. So we're going to go back on Tuesday or Monday, I forget now, for a scan, believing that God will come through.
And Monday or Tuesday rolled around and we went back for the scan. And not only did we not see heartbeats, the embryos were shrinking. So they were decaying and they were dying. This was towards the end of the first trimester. When we found out that we were losing them and that we had to do an evacuation, it was a very emotional time, and she cried. And you know, as a man, you think you're the... First of all, women are stronger than men. Let me just tell you that crying is not a sign of weakness. But as a man, you know, you have been raised to be like, oh, you have to be the man, you have to be strong, you know, you can't shed a tear. So, you know, she's feeling a certain way, she's crying, and I'm trying to be there for her. I'm just, you know, holding her and saying, it's going to be okay, it's okay. But the day that we cried together was the day of the evacuation. Evacuation, for people that don't know, is when they remove the dead embryos. And we go to the hospital, we do the procedure. And Adesua is one of the strongest people that I know. But I had never seen her so frail and in so much pain, emotional and physical. And you know, for somebody like me, whose love language is acts of service, is helping, is fixing the problem, there was absolutely nothing I could do at that time. And we came home from the hospital, and I remember I led her up the stairs and we got into the couch, and I held her in my arms and we cried. And I'll say it again, it's okay to